Welcome to our latest video. Today, our focus is on how we did Agile testing in the finance domain. We thought of selecting the finance domain for this topic by considering the risk and complexity of a finance domain and the applicability of Agile testing. Agile testing is an approach to software testing that aligns with the principles and values of Agile software development. In traditional software development methodologies, testing often occurs as a separate phase at the end of the development lifecycle. However, in Agile, testing is integrated throughout the entire development process, from requirements gathering to deployment and beyond. Agile Testing Lifecycle. The Agile testing lifecycle is a dynamic and iterative process that encompasses testing activities within an Agile software development project. Unlike traditional testing approaches, where testing is conducted in a linear sequence, the Agile testing lifecycle emphasizes continuous testing and feedback loops throughout the development process. Here we are discussing the way we went through the Agile testing lifecycle. This cycle lasts for 2 weeks and there were fortnight production releases. Sprint planning and requirements analysis. This is the first phase. Collaborating with stakeholders to understand and clarify requirements was done in this phase. User stories that need to be developed and tested were identified. Apart from that, acceptance criteria for each user story or feature were defined. Stories were available in Jira and we used to link the requirement clarifications with each story to keep the visibility of the latest among the teams. Test planning. A test plan was created outlining the testing activities to be performed during the particular sprint. Test environments, tools, and resources required for testing were also identified along with the test plan. A high-level test strategy and approach for testing was developed by identifying testing objectives, scope, and business priorities. Test design. The test design phase started with developing mind maps. We did not directly move to the test case designing. Instead, we designed mind maps to identify all possible test combinations. We went with this practice to ensure the test coverage due to the high business risk and complexity of the finance application that consists of various finance transactions. Peer and lead reviews were done in this stage before moving to test case designing. We did it as an extra step because of the involved high risk. Test cases were derived based on the finalized mind maps after these reviews. Both positive and negative flows were covered with the test cases. The designed test cases were mapped with the requirements and a traceability matrix was also prepared at the same time. The severity and test type were defined in each test case. It did so to conduct risk-based testing in the testing phase. We used Jira to manage the test cases. Test execution. The testing phase was started once the development team was done with the implementation of planned new stories and bug fixes of the previous stories. The impact analysis was done first to identify the impact of new stories and bug fixes. Once the development team gave the impact areas, the QA team used to discuss it with them. This was done as a best practice to ensure that all the teams were on the same understanding and to avoid missing anything. A smoke test round was conducted first to test the main functionalities of the stories and moved to other testing types if there were no smoke failures. Apart from that, bug verifications were done and surrounding areas of those bug fixes also were tested thoroughly. The smoke test round was considered with developed stories and identified impact areas. The automation test round was conducted to ensure the back-end testing of existing functionalities. API automation was considered here. After completing the smoke test round, in-depth functional and integration testing was conducted starting from high-severity test cases. Test statuses and identified bugs were logged in Jira. The stories were released to the UAT if there were no bugs or minor bugs. Releasing minor bugs depended on the product owner's decision. It was decided based on the urgency of the functionality and business impact. If there were any other bugs, the relevant stories were rejected and another test round was conducted once those bugs were fixed. That extra testing round was conducted and it was done according to the sprint plans. Scrum meetings. Agile teams attended everyday meetups to give an update for the development, business, and testing statuses, including blocking issues. Goals and priorities are set for the next day if there are any urgent requirement or showstoppers. Continuous integration and delivery. Apart from the smoke test round conducted before every release, automated tests were a critical component of CI. After each integration, automated tests were run to ensure that the new code didn't break the existing functionality. Due to CI/CD approach, the software is always in a deployable state. Whenever there's a business need or opportunity, the software is in releasable status to the production with minimal manual intervention. Retrospective and continuous improvement. Conduct regular retrospectives at the end of each iteration or sprint to reflect on what went well, what could be improved, and actions for enhancement. This step was not included at the end of every sprint due to time constraints, even though it is a good practice. However, retrospective meetings were held after the production releases. Things went well, the impediments we faced and the enhancements we could take we discussed among the teams. Release and feedback. At the end of each sprint, tested and validated increments were released to the end users. The gathered inputs of end users or stakeholders were incorporated with future iterations. This was done by the product owner's end, and the finalized decisions were communicated across the teams. By following the Agile testing life cycle, teams could effectively manage testing activities within Agile software development projects, ensuring the delivery of high-quality software increments that meet customer needs and expectations. Agile testing can play a crucial role in software testing projects within the finance domain by providing flexibility, adaptability, and a focus on delivering high-quality software that meets the evolving needs of stakeholders. Here are several ways Agile testing supports a software testing project in the finance domain. Continuous integration and continuous testing. Agile methodologies emphasize continuous integration and continuous testing, allowing for the early detection of defects. In finance software, where accuracy and reliability are paramount, this ensures that any issues are identified and addressed promptly. Iterative development. Agile testing aligns well with the iterative development approach of Agile methodologies. It allows for frequent releases of small increments of functionality, enabling stakeholders in the finance domain to provide feedback early and often. This iterative process ensures that the software meets the changing regulatory and business requirements of the finance industry. Collaboration. Agile methodologies promote close collaboration between developers, testers, product owners, and business stakeholders. In the finance domain, where domain knowledge is critical, this collaboration ensures that the software accurately reflects the specific needs and regulations of the industry. Test-driven development, TDD. TDD is a practice in Agile development where tests are written before the code. In finance software, TDD ensures that the software meets specified requirements and remains resilient to changes. It also helps in building a comprehensive suite of automated tests, which is crucial for regression testing in financial applications. Risk management. Agile testing focuses on identifying and mitigating risks early in the development process. In the finance domain, where the consequences of software failures can be severe, this proactive approach to risk management is invaluable. Automation. Agile testing encourages the automation of repetitive and time-consuming testing tasks. In the finance domain, where software must be thoroughly tested for accuracy and compliance with regulations, test automation helps in achieving faster time to market without compromising on quality. Adaptability to regulatory changes. The finance domain is subject to frequent regulatory changes. Agile testing allows for quick adaptation to these changes by incorporating them into the development process and ensuring that the software remains compliant with the latest regulations. Focus on customer value. Agile methodologies prioritize delivering value to the customer through incremental releases. In the finance domain, where customer satisfaction and usability are critical. This ensures that the software meets the needs and expectations of end users. By leveraging these principles and practices of Agile testing, software testing projects in the finance domain can achieve faster delivery, improved quality, and better alignment with business objectives and regulatory requirements. Thanks for your time. Visit our website or contact us for more details.